Wireless presence sensors are growing in popularity every day and more options are hitting the market. So is this finally the moment when cable presence sensors can be packed away for good? What we're looking at today is the Lafaer LWR02 all-in-one presence sensor, and it's available to buy now. This is a nice compact device with PIR and mmWave detection, some genuinely useful onboard sensors and matter over thread support, and best of all, it's totally wireless. In this video, I'll run through what this sensor offers, see what it's capable of, and find out how well it performs. Hey everyone, my name's Simon and welcome to Byte of Geek, a channel that's all about home assistant and smart home technology. So a big thank you to Lafaer for sending me out their new all-in-one wireless presence sensor to test and review on the channel. As always, they've had no editorial input into this video and you'll get my honest thoughts and opinions about it. What we have here then is the new all-in-one wireless presence sensor from Lafaer. On the box you'll see that we have a matter logo, but it also has a thread logo on the side as well, and therefore you're going to need a matter over thread border router to use this, and I'll touch on this in just a minute. It supports many different smart home ecosystems, including Home Assistant and Apple Home, so it should be something that most people can use. Inside the box we have the sensor itself, a mount for the sensor, a couple of AAA batteries and a small instruction leaflet. The sensor is quite a nice little unit with a raised, slightly opaque area on the front where the PIR and light sensors sit. On the side of the sensor is a small button for pairing or resetting the sensor, and on the back is the matter pairing code, and there's also this little area where the mount attaches to. I really like the mounting system that's been designed here. It's just a simple magnetic attachment that is strong enough to allow for exact positioning. You do have a sticky pad pre-attached and you get a spare as well, but the base of the mount is also magnetic, so if you want to stick this on your fridge then you can do that without the need for the sticky pad. The battery compartment just comes apart and it uses two AAA batteries, so now you can put a presence sensor in places where you're not able to run cables for a wired sensor. Lafaer claims up to 2 years of battery life for the sensor, and as with anything like this, that is going to vary depending on what settings you have and your usage, and we'll talk more on that in just a moment. One other point to mention is that the sensor has an IPX3 waterproof rating and operates in temperatures between 0 and 40 degrees Celsius, making it ideal for things like bathrooms and kitchens. Unfortunately, there isn't a seal on the battery compartment, so I doubt you'll be able to use this outdoors. Setting up the Lafaer sensor is simple enough. Just open the back and pop in the two AAA batteries, at which point the sensor then goes into pairing mode. I installed the Lafaer app, and on launching that it automatically detected the sensor was available, and then it was a simple process to add it to the app. I then ran the self-learning mode, which is a process that required me to leave the room while the sensor did its thing and calibrated itself with the environment using AI. And when that had finished, the sensor was then ready to be used. As I mentioned earlier, the LWR02 has both a PIR motion sensor and a 24 GHz mmWave radar sensor, allowing it to detect even very subtle movements within its field of view, and it's capable of detecting presence up to 4 meters and 8 meters for motion. By default, both sensors are set to work in conjunction with each other, which is called the hybrid mode, and so with this you'll get the highest level of detection and a reduced number of false detections as well. You can, however, change this according to your needs, with options to have the sensor work with just the PIR or for it to work with just the radar. Having it set to one of those modes is likely to help with battery life as well, so it's worth thinking about what you're wanting to achieve with the sensor before you install it and set the detection mode. With each of these modes you can change the presence timeout. The minimum is 10 seconds and the maximum goes all the way up to 30 minutes. So that's really handy if you don't want the lights turning off in the room, if you're just popping into the kitchen to grab a drink. You can also change the sensitivity of the PIR sensor with low, medium and high settings, and each of these represents detection range. So 4 meters for low and 8 meters for high. The LWR02 also has some additional sensors on board, making this more than just a simple presence sensor. The first of the sensors is a real-time light sensor, which is a common pairing on these types of devices. However, it also has temperature and humidity sensors on board as well, and this is the kind of combination of sensors that people have been asking for. With these additional sensors, you can now open up a whole range of possibilities with your automations. Instead of just turning the lights on or off, now you can combine the presence and temperature sensors along with something like your automated blinds and close them if someone's in a room that's getting too warm. Or maybe you want to turn the bathroom extractor fan on when there's nobody in there but the humidity is too high. Combining these types of sensors with a presence sensor is really quite clever and does genuinely allow for some creative automations in your smart home. So a brief recap of the specification of this presence sensor then, and it has both a 24 gigahertz mmWave radar and a PIR, so you get the best of both worlds here for detection. It has a detection range of 4 meters for presence and 8 meters for motion, which is just a little further than some of the other sensors that I've reviewed on the channel, and it has a detection angle of 120 degrees. It has 3 additional sensors on board, those being light, temperature and humidity, therefore making this a great multi-use sensor around the house. And it's compact too, just about 7 centimeters tall, just over 4.5 centimeters wide and 3.5 centimeters deep. It's IPX3 rated and doesn't have any kind of rubber seal on the battery compartment, therefore it's not really something you can use outside, but you should be okay to use this in bathrooms and kitchens. It takes 2 AAA batteries with an estimated lifespan of 2 years, but that is obviously going to depend on your environment and operating circumstances. It connects via Matter over Thread and it supports multiple smart home ecosystems including Home Assistant, Homey, SmartThings, Amazon, Apple Home and Google Home. In the Lafaer app, you can also fine-tune the sensitivity settings of the presence sensor, allowing you to configure exactly how you want the presence and absence duration to work. The sensitivity levels can be set from low to high, which gives you something that works quite well as a starting point, or you can have a custom level whereby you can configure the thresholds for triggers and maintaining presence according to your needs. At the bottom of the display, you've got this handy little indicator that shows you how far the sensor is detecting presence and at what distance it considers to be clear. It's this kind of functionality that really helps you dial in your sensors to work exactly how you need them to work in the room that you're locating them. And if you want to know more about how these types of sensors work, then make sure to check out this video on the channel where I explain what you need to know about presence sensors. I connected the LWR02 to Home Assistant via an SM Lite dongle, flashed to be a Thread border router, and getting the sensor set up was very straightforward. It did take a little longer than I was expecting to connect, and I thought it was going to fail, but it eventually connected fine. In Home Assistant, the LWR02 exposes 4 sensors, those being the humidity, illuminance, occupancy and temperature. In configuration, we have our firmware, the hold time, so that's how long the sensor will say that presence is detected when the room becomes empty, and you also have the option to adjust the detection sensitivity as well. In diagnostic, we have the battery percentage and battery type, and then we've got these 4 identify buttons, which I've not quite figured out what they're for, as they just seem to flash the light on the front of the sensor when you press them. You've also got some additional sensors related to thread, which are disabled by default. I'm sure we've all experienced that frustrating moment where you're just sitting quietly reading a book and a motion sensor decides the room is empty and suddenly plunges you into complete darkness. I've been trying the Lafaer presence sensor out in several rooms around my home, and it seems to work very well. As you can see here, I've got it set up in my office, and when I enter the room, then it will trigger an automation to turn on the lights. When the room becomes vacant, then it turns the lights off automatically, and I've changed that from the default of 30 seconds down to 10 seconds. I'm using the light sensor in combination with the motion and presence sensors, and this makes sure that I'm only turning the lights on in the room when it's dark enough to need them. This means you can have your automation set up and configured, and it will still work properly even when the lighter nights come around. However, in testing this, I also wanted a very visible way to demonstrate the presence detection. So I've set up a couple of automations in Home Assistant, and I've got a little light which will turn red when presence is detected and turn off when it's not. I've also got a timer running on my mobile phone, and as you can see, I'm sat as still as I can possibly be other than breathing and blinking. And this clip is sped up, but you can see here the sensor has maintained presence detection for over 5 minutes. If I just take a quick measurement from where I was sat to the sensor, that's just over 3.5 meters away. Moving a bit further back behind the camera, and with the little measuring dot pointed at the sensor, I'm still being detected at nearly 6 meters away. Now, I've been using the sensor for about a month, and according to Home Assistant, it's still reporting a perfect 100% battery. Lafaer estimate that you'll get up to 2 years of battery life with this, and obviously that's not something I can verify, but based on my experience with it so far and the amount of activity it's been detecting, it does seem to be performing very well. This is the second presence sensor from Lafaer, and you might be wondering who they are. After all, it's not a name I've mentioned before on the channel. Well, they were the first to launch a widely available battery-powered mmWave presence sensor with matter over thread support, and they're a sub-brand of gl.inet, who are well known for their travel routers and networking gear, so it's fair to say they've got some networking experience. This presence sensor then is a new addition to their product lineup, and it's available now for £45 or $50, and if you want to pick it up, then I've got an affiliate link in the description below. Alternatively, you can just scan the QR code shown on the screen here if you prefer to do that. If you don't want wired presence sensors around your home, or perhaps you've got a room you need a wireless one in, or maybe you've been waiting to have one with more sensors on it so that you can combine devices, well, this Lafaer sensor might just be the one you're looking for. It's an excellent presence sensor in a compact package with a clever mounting design, adjustable sensitivity and matter over thread connectivity, giving you great compatibility across smart home platforms whilst taking advantage of a reliable mesh network. If you just want a distance-based sensor rather than something that you need to map out an entire room, then this is an easy recommendation, especially if you have, like I do, temperature and humidity sensors in your rooms as well. The presence detection works extremely well, and having both types of motion sensors means it's very quick to respond when you enter a room. Combining environmental sensors is a smart move that many will appreciate, and if its battery life continues to hold up as well as it has done so far, then this could well be the point where cabled sensors no longer have a place in your smart home. If you found this video helpful, then I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and why not subscribe to the channel for more smart home content like this. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.